that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both a match attending and international supporters view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm good, mate. I'm pretty good. We were just talking off air. Unfortunately, you don't sound like you're too good. You've got a bit of a virus going on there, mate.
A bit of the Barry White, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit rough. I've had it since last weekend. It just doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Unfortunately, I'm going away on holiday tomorrow, so I was hoping it would be gone by then.
Let's hope that the dry air of Dubai helps fix you up, mate.
Fingers
Well, speaking of fixing you up and making you feel better, I do wonder if the result and the performance maybe helped somewhere to get you feeling good.
Yeah.
Everything was for once unfounded with Tottenham. The pitch, the attitude, the performance, everything seemed to go almost too well.
It was the most professional of evenings, wasn't it? Everything was really positive. I felt that we controlled the game pretty much.
Yep.
And it was really good. I loved everything about it. I think we really limited the number of chances they had.
Yeah.
And contained really well.
What I really liked about it, I was cautious ahead of my statement in the last episode in saying that I don't want to come across an elitist football fan. I think I said something along the lines of we're simply a better side, we've got better players. And that seemed to be proven on the night. Like, we just seemed to look that step better than them. I mean, I don't remember them having many chances. They had one, right, which hit the side netting, and then they had the one where Vicario made that good save, close range. But other than that, we kept them to pretty minimum.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'll say is that there were players who played last night who have not always played that well this season.
Basuma,
as a good example, and even Bentancur has gone wandering around the pitch on occasions, but they were really disciplined.
Yeah,
and I think that those two, as a double pivot, was what really shielded the defence, and it worked really well. It's weird.
31% of the ball we had, which is nuts.
Yeah.
But look, overall, as you said, the players, even the ones that have been average at times or playing shit, actually showed up and put a shift in.
Yeah, it was great. And it's the real togetherness with the squad as well, which was great. You see them after the match all together at home.
If Ange is nothing else, he's clearly, to me, a really good man manager, a really good, I guess, I don't know if he's been to psychology. He studied psychology. Maybe he has, but he strikes me as someone that really gets people and understands human beings and how they work and how they operate. Maybe that leads to him still walking at the end of the season, or us still parting ways with him. But the one thing I'll say, after seeing his speech and also his presser afterwards, I sent you the soundbite on his response. Is this going to be better than the season should it or could have been? Or does it alter the season? And Man United are saying that. And just his responses are just very, I don't know, they're so, it seemed to be well considered, but they're so accurate and to the point and done in a way where he's not being a dick. Like, it was, I think he said something along those lines. If I'm sat here and we're fifth and we qualify for the Champions League, what's everyone going to say? They're going to say, win a trophy. Yeah, so just the way he carries himself, I guess. Everything that's good about the bloke, I think, came through in that semi-final victory and probably to a degree the quarter-final victory as well. Like, two really good performances, and just he seems to be dragging us because he always wins something in his second season, as he reminded us. So
he's definitely not short on self-belief. That's for
correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think I put something in the notes, like there's only two players left in the squad from 2019, Son and Ben Davis. And I'm not sure either of them will start that final for different reasons. One, because he's not the best defensive option. The other, because I'm not sure about his fitness, whether he's ready or not.
It could be another Harry Kane in the final of 2019 all over again.
It could well be.
Yeah.
And also, but it means that I think that squad was very comfortable.
Yeah.
And the mindset wasn't quite right. I think they were just pleased to have got to the final. Like the whole,
well, they all got bloody watch from Levy.
Buying the watch for making final. So maybe that Ange is very good at that stuff, right? He's got 100% self-belief.
Yeah.
and I hope that it rubs off on them and that we can go out and
Well,
create our own mentality.
you talk about mentality and you talk about changing the way it's always been. The thing I found interesting. Now, I didn't watch it. The game, of course, it was all at the same time, and I've just caught snippets of TNT Sports post match of the Man United game. And of course, it was Paul Scholes and Owen Hargreaves, and I think Paul Scholes said something along the lines of, "Well, Man United now to win trophies, Tottenham don't." Now, once again, team talk done. Like,
And look, it's a really weird thing to say because the current crop of players haven't really won anything, right?
well, they had League
they're
Cup,
not-
FA Cup, didn't they? Yeah,
yeah, but actually, they've not won a big trophy. They haven't won the league for God knows that since
2013.
yeah.
And also, I was reading, I don't know if you subscribe to The Athletic, but I was reading an interesting article on there and basically breaking down how we beat them in the games that we beat them in. And basically, the context of the article was the game will be won and lost in midfield. And that's where they see Tottenham doing really well because they just have this ability to smother Man United. And Man United, whilst they've got players that can pick a lock in Fernandes, well, they've got players like Casemiro, they've got Ericsson that comes in and comes out. They've now got Mason Mount, who seems to have found some form and he's back from injury. But we have better midfielders who are willing to run through brick walls for Ange and can smother players. And that's how we've won the games that we've beaten them in. That was their view anyway. But
I could see that.
yeah. And we're obviously going to do a special for the preview of the final. So we won't get too ahead of ourselves on what we think is going to happen. But I saw your notes. Your friend, was it Helen, who was there?
Yeah.
So she was in the pub, was she?
They were in the pub all afternoon and then had to go straight to the stadium, so I didn't get a chance to speak to her before the match. And then she called me today, and she didn't do that either. So I'm assuming that after a lot of revelry last night, that I had nursed a bit of a hangover and then flew home today.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad.
But there's some other interesting stuff around the match itself. I guess Magna, who was on the legs, he was on national TV in Norway. It's like a very serious news channel. They were previewing the match, and they had him and some girl with a Bodo Glimt supporter on, and basically had got a bit of banter. Obviously, it's already Norwegian, so I would point you at it, but it probably won't mean a great deal. But it was quite cool to see him on TV after that.
That's great.
The other thing I wanted to mention is the fireworks at 2:30 a.m.
Oh, how original of them.
It's a bit cliche, isn't it now?
Yeah.
For football.
Well, didn't seem to make much of a difference.
Well, no, if we get a performance like every time, I hope they carry on doing it.
Yeah, no, indeed. Just going back to the game itself, Pedro Porro, definitely a cross.
Yeah, you said as much in the interview afterwards, which is fair, I think.
Yeah, but it was one of those, wasn't it? And arguably, if you look at it in the context of a cross, probably not a great cross, but it's because it would have gone out right. It's the post. It's the post that goes in.
Back post, yeah.
Yeah, back post. And then
the first one was a goal from a corner routine as well.
Well, it was, and liked about that was the involvement of Romero. He was like, no pun intended in where we were playing, but he looked like a salmon jumping up there and getting the header across. I was like, I do know this for a fact, and just a bit of a moan from me about Australian coverage. I don't know where they pull the feeds from, but the Australian coverage is played. So it's streamed on a platform called Stan, and it's a bit weird. Stan is actually not a sport platform. It's a TV show platform. So you watch like dramas and comedies and things like that on it. But for some reason, they picked up the rights to Champions League and Europa League this season or 2 seasons ago. The commentary is absolutely awful. We had Efan Akuku, and I can't remember who the lead commentator was, but basically I've never known a commentary team to be so willing the opposing team on, almost as this fairy tale of them. They actually physically, like, they actually said, it would be lovely if Bodo scored. And I'm like, what? Like, go away.
I think that it's so frustrating that, right? Because, I mean, I expect that from Norwegian TV.
Correct.
Yeah, that's not great.
And it was almost like they were willing them to score, and then what would happen if they did, and Tottenham would shrink.
We had TNT Sport, and I think we had Matterface, who I can't stand.
Yeah.
And I think it was Hoddle, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he's usually pretty involved in the Spurs games on TNT. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had they have Rio in the studio. I can't remember now. Yeah, I can't remember who else, but it was. But it was still fairly negative, really. I think but for me, it was a really professional performance.
Absolutely. Absolutely it was. And just going back to his comments, both pre-game and post-game, what do you make of this noise coming out of Wenger and one or two others because I saw a snippet from Richard Keys and Andy Gray, take that for what it's worth, because it's them two plebs. But they were basically talking about the fact there's going to be a Man United Spurs final, and then they pulled up the league table. And then Richard Keys was pointing at the league table saying, this is why that's wrong. Look at them. This is why it's wrong. They're terrible teams. They shouldn't be anywhere near. And then Angie's rebut to that is, well, how many teams in the top 6 or top 8 have made cup finals? This isn't an easy thing to do. Like the two can it's true, right? And then Wenger's making noise about how the winner shouldn't get Champions League spot. There was nothing said when it was Atalanta.
The way I look at it is everybody knows the rules at the start of the season, and you can only play those rules that are available in front of you, and then there you go.
This isn't a new. The change this year has been that the Champions League teams don't drop in, and it's this league format. But the qualification, I think, has been around at least 2 years, maybe 3 years. If you win it, you qualify.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes back to my psychology comment around the guy. He just seems to get it, and he says things that we're all thinking as fans. When he was asked about it, that's something that's been raging on for years. Oh, all of 8 days. It's like when Wenger.
I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I think he did a really good job for all the times he's, I think, overreacted to some pretty average grilling. All of his press work in the last 14 days has been stellar. It's been excellent. He's defended the club, defended the players, spoken very well, I felt. And actually, he did himself a lot of favours, I think.
Well, now we're going to cover it all but briefly, I expect, the Palace game that we've got coming. But one thing I'll say about that game as it approaches, well, first of all, you're going to be in Dubai, and they 2 hours ahead of England?
3, I think it is.
3, so it'll be like a tea time kickoff for you there then, and it's going to be like 11:15 at night for me, and I can say with confidence I'm probably not going to be watching it live. But and I'm sure you would have picked up on this, I certainly did, in his changing room comments that was beamed, and that was strategic by the club. Like, we've never ever seen anything like that from the club before, so I think that was very
after a match as well.
Correct. So that was very strategic.
The press wasn't it?
Yeah, it was put out as part of the press pack. But what he said was, you've got 2 weeks today. Celebrate now. But now the next day, you focus. You've got 2 weeks to focus on this final. It tells us everything we need to know about how everyone's feeling about the Premier League. The focus now is the final.
I think he actually said that they're warm-up matches for the final, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I've got this feeling, though, and again, we're going to do a preview of the final close to the time. I do wonder if, just with the injuries that we've got, with Bergvall out and Mathers out, I do wonder if we see the likes of Mikey Moore make the bench for the final. And who knows, if we need someone to be a bit tricky, like he can cause chaos, right? On his day, he's a brilliant player. Clearly, he's got a lot of growing and learning to do. And I do also wonder if you see Archie Gray in there, with Bergvall missing in the squad. Because my guess would be, with a final squad, can you name more substitutes? Like on the bench, is it not 7? Because I think you can name more. I'll have to look it up, and we can do a preview.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, we're exactly. But I feel this Sunday match against Palace will see equal number of changes, probably 7 or 8. Not as many.
I keep saying it. This is the one where Kingsley plays. Has to give the Corio a rest.
I think possibly. I think we'll see Danso and Davis come back in.
Yep.
Probably Archie Gray.
Mikey Moore to start for me, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Jed Spence will come in.
Well, but mind you, again, I keep saying it, and we're going to do a bigger, better episode for the final review, but the team that he plays against Man United, in that article I read on The Athletic, Jed Spence was really important in all of those games in terms of nullifying how Man United were trying to play. So I do wonder, there might be a chance that he might opt for Jed Spence in the final. just based on what he did in the games against Man United previously. So who knows?
I could say.
Do you think Kulu gets more minutes against the likes of a Palace and Villa, like just to keep him sharp?
I think he needs them.
Yeah.
And actually, I know that it's like, if you look at the gaps between the games, we've got a game Sunday.
Yep.
And then we don't play till Friday. So there's a good rest period. And then we don't play until the Wednesday for the final. And then the final game's not till the subsequent weekend anyway. So I think that we could quite comfortably play. The only risk is injuries, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that would worry us the most.
Well, but the one thing I will say, and this is fortuitous, we're playing Crystal Palace on the weekend. Their next game after playing us is the FA Cup final. So that is more important to them. So
you think they might make changes as well?
I think they absolutely will. I think they will. I think there'll be changes made. And I think just the general nature of the fact that they're 12th with a win puts them on 49 points, and they're not going to go, they won't go any higher than 12th. They can't even go 11th with a win. They're probably not going to make Europe in the league. So it's quite not too dissimilar to us in the sense of what they've got on the line. They win that FA Cup final, which you wouldn't back against them being C. They seem to be a bit of a bogey team for them at times. So maybe they do rest a few as well.
Yeah, they were 2-0 up against them before they lost 2, weren't they?
Yeah.
In the season.
Yeah. So
just before we go and talk about that Palace game, one other thing I wanted to mention, two things actually. One was after Porro's goal, which was the one that extended it to 5-1 on aggregate. The players were celebrating with the supporters, and there was a confrontation between Romero and Gunderson. Gunderson's the one who'd been very gobby in the press about
all press and stuff. Yeah.
And he went up to him and said, "You guys shouldn't talk too much."
Oh, did he? Romero did?
Yeah. And there was an altercation, and they had to be dragged apart, which is quite funny.
Oh, brilliant. I like Romero.
Yeah. And the other thing was, because of the way the fixtures fall, I don't like it. I don't like that the final is before the end of the season.
Correct. Same with FA Cup, actually. I had the same view of the FA Cup.
Agreed. But it does mean if we win the Cup, then we will have a game at home on the final game of the season against Brighton. And the atmosphere will be absolutely electric for that, right?
Yeah, that's dare to dream stuff. But it's changing the narrative, and I think as Spurs fans,
could be very miserable.
Yeah. And I think as Spurs fans, it's almost like, and this plays into Ange's message, right? Yeah, this plays into Ange's message. Please, can we have the football gods be on our side in a final? Like I've seen it in semi-finals as well. I've seen it so many times, as you have, over and over and over again. Can we please just have it be our turn? I know that sounds childish, but I want it to be our turn. I want to win something. Yeah. I want to know what it feels like, you know?
I agree. Yeah.
It's been too long.
I think so. I think, I totally agree. I think I said something else like along the lines of, right, it's been 41 years since the last European Cup. And so there's basically 2 generations of supporters who haven't seen us lift a European trophy. Including you. And you're no spring chicken anymore, Glenn.
Exactly, mate. And this would be our 3rd UEFA Cup, wouldn't it? That'd be our 3rd. Which is, and also it'd be quite fitting when them up the road failed to get it done in the Champions League when they were so confident.
I love how overconfident they are. It's both their biggest trait and their biggest weakness as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, as we keep saying, we're teasing our audience with the talk of the final, but we will be doing a much bigger preview of the final. But looking ahead, not too far ahead for the Palace game, we touched on it. I'm expecting a raft of changes. It's 11:15 p.m. kickoff for me on a Sunday night. Unless I decide to stay up, I highly doubt I'll be watching it live. And you'll find somewhere in Dubai. You're going to watch the Dubai Spurs, or what's your?
My plan is to probably do that. It's just a weird time that it's on there, like 5. It's kind of
dinner time, early dinner, tea time. From a prediction point of view, I both don't really care. And I don't know what we're going to get in terms of the players, but also equally, as I mentioned, I don't know what we get with the players from Palace, either with a clear view on the FA Cup final, which gets them into Europe as well. Funnily enough, that gets them the prize that they would want, as well as the trophy. So I think for me, it has all the hallmarks of something like a 1-1 draw or something, where neither team is going to maybe play their strongest. And even if we do play a few of the starters that we expect to see in the final, they're not going to be risked for much longer than 30, 35 minutes, maybe, just to keep legs going. You're not going to see the likes of Romero and Van der Ven, I don't believe. So, yeah, I see a score draw and I see almost a pre-season feel to it. But how about yourself, mate? Do you reckon a similar view from you?
Yeah, I expect a lot of changes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether we risk Son or not. If he's well enough to play minutes, maybe he needs some minutes so we can get a feel for how close he is for the final. Because if he's in contention, he'll probably play, right?
That man, I mean, he deserves it, doesn't he? He deserves it. He's been so loyal. And even if he's not fully fit for the final to start, as we've touched on earlier, let's hope this is the situation that plays out. We're winning it so comfortably that with 10 minutes to go, he can come on for a jolly and he can be the one that lifts it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I expect to see like Danso, Gray, Davis, Spence,
More.
maybe Papasar as well. Probably Bentancur with him. I don't, we haven't got that many.
What's happened to Dane Scarlett? Because he couldn't go back out on loan anywhere because he had free loan. It would have been his third loan. So he can't do that. But has he been injured? Because he came and he looked good, and then he's just not really featured again, has he?
Well, he scored in the Europa League, didn't he? I just feel a bit sorry for him. I feel like he's not been unused sub quite a few times.
Last minutes, he had 4 minutes away to Fulham when we lost. So, but maybe these two fixtures, right, in the league, they probably play their way to thinking, well, he's an option, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So Palace have got 3 injuries, as I know of. Wharton's out.
Oh, is he?
Decore and Riyadh.
Yeah.
So they're not without their challenges as well. And as you said, they've got the FA Cup to look forward to. They're already very, very safe. They've got 8 points ahead of us. And 12.
Kinski, I do think this is the one Kinski maybe starts. I don't know, just maybe give Vicario a rest. And then obviously the man missing in action, Timo Werner, I don't see him playing, or maybe he will. Maybe it'll be a surprise. Odegaard will probably get a few minutes. It's an opportunity as well, like with how our luck's been this season, it's actually an opportunity for the likes of Sarr and Moore and Gray. Should we get injuries in key positions before the final, they're going to want to maybe stake a claim to be in the team, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, opportunity for them to play well.
In terms of your prediction, I think the same. I think maybe a low-scoring score draw at 1-1, and I'm not too bothered about that if that's the case.
Well, I don't know how you feel, but for me, just getting into the final has changed my whole mood, my whole feeling around not just so much what we can achieve, but just the view on Ange and what might happen. I don't really care now. Like, I just want to play the final and win the thing.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, happens. We're in it, right? He's achieved something that we haven't done in 6 years. 2019, of course, Champions League final. And then preceding that, 1984, right, in terms of the UEFA Cup. So, as I said, I can't stop thinking about it and looking forward to it. Hence why I still keep going on about it. We will do a bigger preview, and maybe we'll try and rustle up a few good guests ahead of the final. But as far as anything else, I don't have much else to say other than for you to hopefully feel better soon, mate, and hopefully your holiday helps to do that. But other than to say, as always, come on, you Spurs.
Thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And as Glenn said, close us out. Come on, you Spurs.
You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn to.